Imagine this. You're in a tense courtroom. The air is thick with anticipation. On one side, a powerful corporation with an army of expensive lawyers. On the other, a small, family-owned business on the brink of collapse. Everything hinges on this one trial. Corporation's lead lawyer, a man known for his sharp suits and even sharper tongue, struts around the courtroom with an air of absolute confidence. He's grilling the small business owner, twisting his words, making him look incompetent. It seems like an open and shut case. But then, something incredible happens. A single, overlooked mistake, a tiny crack in the lawyer's perfect facade, is about to bring his entire case crashing down, and the person who spots it. The one person in the room nobody expected. Stick around, because this is the story of how a single, jaw-dropping moment of courtroom drama turned the tables and delivered a verdict that no one saw coming. The case was a classic David versus Goliath story. A massive tech conglomerate, Omnicorp, was suing a small software startup, Innovetic, for alleged patent infringement. Innovetic, run by two young programmers, had developed a revolutionary piece of software. Omnicorp claimed the core technology was stolen from them. The reality, however, was that Omnicorp, with its vast resources, had simply seen a competitor they wanted to crush. They buried Innovetech in legal paperwork, hoping to bleed them dry before the case even reached a courtroom. But Innovetech scraped together every penny they had to hire a passionate, albeit less experienced, lawyer to fight for their creation. Odds were stacked impossibly high against them. Omnicorp's legal team was led by Arthur Vance, a notorious litigator feared for his aggressive tactics and undefeated record. In the weeks leading up to the trial, Vance was relentless. He filed motion after motion, creating a mountain of work for Innovetech's small legal team. As the trial began, Arthur Vance was in his element. He exuded an almost theatrical confidence, his voice booming through the courtroom, presented a compelling, albeit misleading narrative. He painted the young founders of Innovetech as naive amateurs who had stumbled upon Omnicorp's proprietary code and tried to pass it off as their own. He used complex technical jargon to confuse the jury and presented a timeline that seemed to prove his point. Innovetech's lawyer did his best to counter, but Vance was a master of courtroom performance. He objected, interrupted, and controlled the flow of the proceedings. The judge, a seasoned and respected figure named Judge Thompson, watched everything with a sharp, discerning eye, her expression unreadable. By the end of the first week, things looked grim for Innovetech. The jury seemed swayed by Vance's powerful performance, and the mood in the Innovetech camp was one of despair. It felt like the giant was about to crush David without breaking a sweat. The turning point came during the cross-examination of Omnicorp's lead engineer. This was supposed to be the final nail in Innovetech's coffin. Arthur Vance was questioning his own witness. A strategic move designed to reinforce Omnicorp's version of events for the jury one last time. He wanted the engineer to confirm the exact date the stolen code was supposedly finalized internally at Omnicorp. Vance projected a document onto the large courtroom screen. It was an internal email chain, heavily redacted, showing the supposed finalization of the code. Vance asked his witness, "Can you confirm for the court that this email, dated October 17, 2021, shows the completion of Project X, the very project Innovetech allegedly copied?" The engineer, looking a bit nervous under the bright lights, nodded and said, "Yes, that's correct." Vance smiled smugly, turning to the jury as if to say, "See? Case closed." He was so wrapped up in his own performance, so confident in his victory that he missed what was about to happen next. From the bench, Judge Thompson leaned forward, her eyes narrowed on the screen. She adjusted her glasses, peering intently at the projected email. The courtroom was silent. Vance, momentarily thrown off by the judge's focus, paused his triumphant strut. "Mr. Vance," the judge said, her voice calm but carrying an undeniable weight, "could you please zoom in on the bottom of that document for me?" A wave of confusion washed over the courtroom. Vance, looking irritated by the interruption, instructed his paralegal to zoom in. The image on the screen grew larger, and that's when everyone saw it. At the very bottom of the document, in the faint, grayed-out metadata text that most people ignore, was a line that read, "File created, March 2nd, 2023. File last modified." March 2nd, 2023. A collective gasp echoed through the courtroom. March 2nd, 2023 was the date of the previous day of the trial. The implication was instantaneous and devastating. The document, presented as a crucial piece of evidence from 2021, had actually been created just the day before. It was a complete fabrication. Arthur Vance's face went from smug confidence to stark pale horror in a matter of seconds. He stammered, trying to offer an explanation about file conversions and metadata errors, but the damage was done. His credibility had been utterly shattered in a single public moment. Judge Thompson looked at him, her expression a mixture of disappointment and stern authority. "Mr. Vance," she began, her voice cutting through his panicked excuses, "you are an officer of the court. You have a duty to present evidence that is truthful and accurate. This is not that." She then turned to the jury. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I am instructing you to disregard this entire document and the testimony related to it. It has been proven to be a fabrication, submitted to this court with the intent to mislead." The air crackled with tension. Could have heard a pin drop. Vance's entire case, built on a foundation of lies and intimidation, had just crumbled into dust because of his own sloppy arrogance. The rest of the trial was a formality. Vance's exposure completely changed the dynamic. His blustering confidence was gone, replaced by a defeated slump. He could barely look at the jury, let alone the judge. Inovetic's lawyer, emboldened by this dramatic turn of events, delivered a powerful closing argument. He painted a clear picture of Omnicorp's predatory behavior and highlighted their blatant attempt to deceive the court. He reminded the jury of the passion and hard work of the two young founders who had been unfairly targeted. When the jury returned with their verdict, it was no surprise. They found unanimously in favor of Inovetic on all counts. Not only that, but they also awarded punitive damages against Omnicorp for their malicious conduct. The small courtroom erupted in cheers from the Inovetic supporters. The two young founders embraced their lawyer, tears of relief and joy streaming down their faces. David had not just fought Goliath, he had won. But the story doesn't end there. The fallout for Arthur Vance and Omnicorp was severe. Judge Thompson reported Vance to the State Bar Association for ethical violations, leading to a lengthy investigation and the suspension of his license to practice law. His reputation as an undefeated legal shark was permanently destroyed. Omnicorp's stock price took a significant hit as news of their fraudulent court tactics went public. They were forced to issue a public apology, and their CEO resigned amid the scandal. For Inovetic, the victory was life-changing. With the lawsuit behind them and their reputation vindicated, they were able to secure the funding they needed to launch their software. It became a huge success, revolutionizing their industry. Their story became a legend in the tech world, a powerful reminder that integrity and truth can prevail, even against the most powerful opponents. It all came down to one moment, one arrogant lawyer's mistake, and one sharp-edged judge who refused to let a lie stand in her courtroom. It just goes to show you, sometimes the smallest detail can make the biggest difference. Thanks for watching this incredible story unfold with us. It's a powerful lesson in why honesty and attention to detail are so important. What did you think of the judge's sharp observation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love stories where the underdog comes out on top, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next video.